Well, the UK is accusing Iranian boats of trying to intercept a British oil tanker in the Strait of Hormuz. The vital shipping passageway connects the Persian Gulf to the rest of the world, and Iran has denied Britain's accusations. This comes as police in Gibraltar have made arrests in connection to a detained Iranian tanker last week. The British authorities say was violating EU sanctions. CBS News foreign correspondent Charlie D'Agata has the latest.
British Navy officials tell CBS News this warship, the HMS Montrose, wedged itself between the cargo ship and 3 Iranian paramilitary vessels, demanding safe passage of this cargo ship, the British Heritage, registered to British Petroleum. The Iranian boats backed off. The scrap on the high seas comes a week to the day since British commandos seized an Iranian supertanker off the coast of Gibraltar over allegations it was breaking sanctions by transporting oil to Syria. Accusations denied by Iran. Just yesterday, Iranian President Hassan Rouhani warned there would be consequences and that the British were sick to send frigates to escort their ships. Tensions were already running high after a series of attacks on tankers in recent weeks blamed on Iran. When we were last there, U.S. Navy gunboats took us to see up close the damage Navy investigators told us caused by the kind of limpet mines used by Iran's Revolutionary Guard. This despite a significant U.S. military buildup in the region, including the USS Abraham Lincoln Strike Carrier Group and B-52 bombers. Iran's Revolutionary Guard is denying that it confronted any alien vessels, especially British. They said that if they received the order to seize a ship, they would have done so immediately. Charlie D'Agata, CBS News, London.
CBS News national security correspondent David Martin joins us now from the Pentagon. So, David, what's the Pentagon saying about the UK's version of events?
Well, not surprisingly, the Pentagon is backing up the UK's version of events. The 3 Iranian fast boats did come out and attempt to redirect the British oil tanker into Iranian waters as a manner of seizing the tanker. Now, there is video of this event, which is currently being declassified. We haven't seen it yet, but presumably that will give us the ground truth on what happened here. It did happen at night, so we don't know how good the video is, but there was an aircraft up over the strait when this happened, and so that aircraft monitored this incident, and also the British were filming from the deck of their warship, the Montrose. So there's plenty of visual evidence here. We're just waiting to see it.
And David, what do you think that these new tensions between the UK and Iran mean for the rocky relationship between Washington and Tehran?
Well, it's just one more ratcheting up of tensions in an already tense situation. And Charlie mentioned the mines placed on other tankers. And then, of course, there was the incident in which Iran shot down an American reconnaissance drone, and President Trump came within just an hour or so of launching an airstrike against Iran. So we're just almost at the edge of using force on force and starting some sort of conflict, which both sides want to avoid, but neither side is willing to back down, and there doesn't seem to be any roadmap for an exit here. The United States says it's willing to negotiate with the Iranians, but the Iranians have shown absolutely no interest in negotiating.
It's so frightening to hear you say that we're on the edge of this potential, potential use of force, and that there's no exit from this. David, I want to pivot for a second while I have you to a different matter. I want to ask you about Air Force General John Hyten, who's facing accusations of sexual assault. The Air Force has investigated the allegations. What more do we know?
Well, we know that the Air Force started investigating allegations made by a female member of General Hyten's staff when he was commander at U.S. Strategic Command. She alleged 9 separate incidents of what the military calls abusive sexual contact, what the rest of us would probably call groping. She made those accusations this past April, just after he was nominated to become vice chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, which is the #2 job in the U.S. military. The Air Force Office of Special Investigations immediately started an investigation, interviewed about 50 witnesses, and reviewed thousands of emails, and could find no evidence to corroborate the claims that this woman made. Now, you would think that if something is investigated and somebody is cleared, that would be the end of it. But let's be frank here: this involves sex and it involves politics. And the members of the Senate Armed Services Committee are all over this, and of course it's wrapped up in controversies with many of President Trump's nominations. It's wrapped up in the Me Too movement. So this thing still has a long way to go before we know how it's going to come out, and whether in fact General Hyten will be able to go through the nomination process.
All right, David Martin coming to us from the Pentagon. David, thank you very much.
Sure thing.